we're going to be taking a look at, I guess really multiple movies at one time. We're going to eventually get, in the next video or two, and these videos will be short, under 10 minutes, we're going to get to Blade Runner, the final cut, which is going to be kind of fitting. And as always here, dealing with this mirror, there's always the backward, very wrong projection, and then there's the very original intent of which this backward group has gotten so wrong. So you can see here, Blade Runner, the final cut. So we're talking about this cutter situation of which they seek to fulfill themselves as. And in Blade Runner, we're going to show you who they're going to be cutting away within their own group. And it's going to be on the white people's side here. And we're going to see that. We're going to see how they display it. And it's going to shock you. And it should bring you back to your senses, if you've even got any. Okay, but before we get to that, just understand that you're going to be seeing this displayed here once again from these Hairayans, the Aryans, and you're going to see at least what I'll show you from this perspective here, who they plan on cutting away. And it's really, you're going to see here, him as well, and then him as well. And then this guy thinks he's going to be scot-free, so to say, of both of them. But I just want you to recognize right now how we make the connection with the cutter. And remember, Blade Runner, the final cut. And take a notice here that Mr. Andre Benjamin is on the right side of the screen. And, the darkened right eye of Horus. And I'd like you to take a look here at this individual who is pretending to be his version of Horus. And notice that his right eye is darkened. Zechariah 11:17 says he's going to leaveth the flock. And then as you can see here, Mr. Woody Harrelson is a part of the flock that he plans on leaving. All connected to the symbolism here as well. And then of course the symbolism here as well, which just so happens to be these gentlemen's name in real life, and that could be the real understanding of what they plan to do to them in real life. Notice that he's got the 33, which I told you in reality represents those who believe they're not going to be destroyed, but they're going to be doing the destruction. And then I said everybody that's 32 and under, that is seeking to be a part within their mirror, they plan on destroying. Flint, that's how you start a fire. And these guys intentionally are starting the fire. So, to bring you up to speed, to validate what I said with Mr. Benjamin here, that's connected to the tribe of Benjamin, and what we've talked about thus far about it, how Joseph, while in Egypt, sought to make Benjamin look like a criminal, when in all actuality, he really wasn't. If we were to come over here to this picture that you've seen before, notice that this individual in the center is carrying the umbilical cord cutter. And it's even symbolism of the moon as well. Notice that he's in the center of this panoramic, if you will. And then I'd like you to notice that over to the right side, he is explicitly showing the cutting away is going to be done with this dark-skinned individual that is being shown to you, at least from their perception, as Moses, which you know, or should know, Moses is reported in the Bible as having a Cushite wife. So take a look there at the rod or the staff of Hermes, of which they are seeking to cut them away from. And then if you were to go over here and watch this movie Everything that you would see about it is basically aimed at the destruction of these dark-skinned fellows of their own organization. Now, I am doing this video in hopes that you guys who are a part of this organization will come to your senses and make sure that you take no part in it, because in all actuality, it's these individuals that destroy themselves, and that Jesus Christ, my Lord and Master, has already declared that there's not going to be a sacrifice of which these individuals are planning for everyone else. But what is said is that they destroy themselves. And you could call that a prophecy. So keep in mind, we'll come back to this movie and show you how they're going to do this, or at least how they are projecting how they're going to do this to their own Aryan members of their own society. But until that, let's go ahead and take a look at iRobot. And iRobot right here is going to be a code in itself. And as you see, Will Smith is being chosen. Will Smith is the man's actual name. And remember where he is playing the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air some time ago in our cultural media history. And if you could remember what we did a video about it, to where we basically revealed that Bel-Air represents Lord Satan, prince of the powers of the air, from their perspective. At least how Baal, as in Lord, their Lord, Saturn, El Saturn, and then of course as they see themselves being the descendants, having the power of this air, of course space flight could be seen within that. Notice Will Smith, the last name, which is of course a name that the white man gave certain of the slaves in the past that these men still carry to this day. Smith would be associated to blacksmith, which would be associated to iron worker, which is of course who Will Smith is working for, these sons of Orion. Iron blacksmiths. But Will Smith is not the blacksmith himself. As you can see, he's just been merely given the title as a slave, as he was under the control of these white men who put him in slavery. So what they're trying to tell you here is that Mr. Will Smith is still their slave. He's their iRobot. And then you're going to see that they plan on cutting him away. And you could almost even now think about Oprah Winfrey. Think about the last name Winfrey and how that would be the connection with a slave winning its freedom or purchasing it, but yet still working for the establishment that put it into slavery. Now she runs, or at least thinks she runs, the OWN network. Now OWN is exactly what you do to slaves, at least from the perspective of the people that own them. And then OWN, OWN, is NWO in reverse. So, being that the introduction to the video was a little longer than I intended, but it was definitely necessary for you to understand, I'm going to stop the video here, and then I'm going to come back with this video putting the movie in and then running the credits. And as we run the credits, we're going to see the very same symbolism shown for Mr. Denzel Washington in a movie that he's featured in entitled Man on Fire. And of course you can see the intention there is that Mr. Denzel Washington is on fire. In other words, cutting him away with the destruction that they plan. So I hope that you guys understand, and understand I'm not playing any games, and I'm very capable to fulfill what I've been ordained to do. Right now I'm just simply hoping to pull as many of you out of this crooked contraption, the machine as it is, as somehow you guys have senselessly become a part of. So please consider and understand, when we say machine, you almost get ma chin, and chin is jaw, as in associated with the jawbone of an ass that Samson himself was wielding as he was destroying said Philistines in the Bible. I'll be back.